G'day everyone, Nathan here at Glass for Classics. Well, we're in our new warehouse. Thought it was about time we put together a new video. So this particular one that we're doing is actually for the 58 to 62 Chevy Corvettes. We're going to run you through today, getting the old glass out of the frames, putting the new glass in. As you can see, we've got our nice new one here. So we've actually replaced the original glass, got rid of the old laminated that's in it, put in the new toughened glass. So this is going to be a lot harder wearing. It'll last far longer than the original glass did. So as you come down here, this is the original. So this is the reason that we're replacing it. The original laminated glass, it's prone to cracking, it's prone to delamination, it goes milky. So this is just not a long-term option, which is why when we reproduce it, we don't like putting laminated back in. So we're going to go get the glass out of the frame. It's just a couple of flathead screws in here. These are nice and simple to get out. Undo these. These frames come apart very easily because with all the GM products, they actually run stainless steel, which is not very common for GM. So rust is very rarely an issue in these whatsoever. Now to get the runner off, we're just going to use, we've got a good quality paint scraper, nice and solid. You want a nice thick one with a tapered end on it. All we're going to do is sit this on the glass here, and we're going to knock down into the frame so that it comes off. That way you don't have to get blocks of timber and all sorts of things. We're just going to gently knock into here, and as you can see, that runner has literally just popped itself straight off the bottom. So we're going to get into this later. We'll clean the runner out. I can't stress enough getting all of this out, because as you can see, you've got light surface rust and all sorts of things in there. So the key is get the wire wheel or a wire brush into there and really clean all of that out. If you have to, chemically treat the rust. So the next step is actually getting this glass out of the frame. Oh, in this case, it's already dropping straight out. All we usually do is just give this a gentle tap down the side, and the glass will just pop itself free. The Corvette, this is very standard for them. Now that glass is out. We supply brand new glass for this. If you need new glass, we do it in toughened. It's all cut by CNC machine. You know it's going to be spot on. If you need to get new glass cut, you're not in Australia for example, and you're over in the US, make sure you hang on to this, because most places will need a template. As I said though, in Australia we supply it. Here is our nice new piece in toughened, ready to go. Now we can send this anywhere in the world if we have to, and we do every day of the week. So we're just going to clean these frames out, clean these runners up, and we're going to come back. We're going to show you how to get the glass into the frame now. It is simple. If you haven't done it before, don't stress. You don't need any fancy tools. We literally have a good quick grip clamp here and the setting tape and a razor blade. You don't need anything else, that's it. So it's going to take about 5 minutes and the job's going to be done. So we'll clean this out and we'll come back in a moment. Alright, now to run through getting this glass on. We've cleaned out our runners, everything is cleaned out. You cannot use the original setting tape. This is what we've just taken out. It's all brittle, it's no good to you. You're not going to be able to reuse it. A lot of guys try and urethane the glass back in. To be honest, it's just asking for trouble, and if you don't get it right, chances are you're not going to get your glass back out. We do have the setting tape. It's usually around about $10 a metre. We've got a bunch of different thicknesses. Now for this 58 to 62 Chevy Corvette, we've used 1.2mm setting tape to hold the stainless frame on the top, and 2mm setting tape to fit the frames onto, or fit the runner onto the bottom. So if you do need that, you can get it through the website. Now, setting tape is very easy to use. It's actually a butyl-based compound. It's not a rubber, despite what it looks like. All we're going to do is simply fold this in half. We're going to pinch it all the way along and just fold it all the way the entire length. You don't need to be exact, it's just got to be roughly in the center of it. Now we've cut this setting tape slightly longer than we need by a couple of inches, just to be safe. Better off having too much and than not enough. Now that that's done, here's our new window. As I said, we always produce toughened glass. It's a lot easier to to handle and manufacture, you don't need to be anywhere near as careful. If you are using laminated glass the way they did from the factory, you are going to have to be a little bit more careful than what we are in this video, because toughened glass is far harder wearing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start just below this curve. So we're going to tape this. We happen to have some black masking tape, but if you can just use some clear sticky tape or sellotape from the desk drawer, that's fine. This is literally just to hold it in place until it goes in the frame. From there, we're just going to stretch it out, sit it on the top edge of the glass all the way along, bend it down, and again, we're just going to put a little bit on the bottom. This is just to make life easier, because most of us don't have a second set of hands in the shed. Through there. Now, trim this off. Now the next step is going to be these top corners. Obviously, if we try and force that in, it's going to bunch up and you've got too much material. So what we're going to do is literally just pinch this through here on both sides. We'll grab the scissors, cut into where the glass is on both faces. Don't go the whole way through. We're going to overlap this. Now, we just use the nice razor blades. To be honest, most of you have got them in the shed. You can get them at your local hardware or paint supply place. Literally, push there. Don't try and cut it, just push it in, and you'll get a nice clean cut and a clean miter through the corner with the little bit of wastage. So we'll come around, we'll do the other side. Same thing again. All we're doing is pushing, and that's it. And again, we now have a nice miter in the top corner. We'll do this on the front edge too. Make sure you've got it central. Cut on each side. Get the overlap and press it. Remove your little bit of excess. Now, this is butyl, so you can use kerosene to put this back together. That's what we typically use. We're a little bit quicker because we do it a lot, but for argument's sake, what we're going to do in this video, we're just going to use a little bit of water and detergent as a lubricant, because what's going to happen is this is going to grip trying to get into the frame. If you don't lubricate it in some way, chances are you're going to tear this. Kerosene doesn't give you a very long working time. As I said, bit of detergent and water, quick and easy. We'll give it a quick squirt. Just a light mist is all that needs. Hook the frame over the back edge. And hook the front edge over. Now, upside down, gentle tap. If it's snug, you can use the quick grip clamp to squeeze it in. Because we've got the 1.2mm setting tape with this 6mm glass, it's a nice neat fit. Quick push down and that's good to go. Now, the runner is the next step. For the Corvettes, it can only go one way. The back is tapered, so you don't need to worry about accidentally getting this backwards. It will literally only go together one way. So we'll grab the 2mm setting tape now for this. Same deal. Purely fold that in half. All the way along. We'll stand our glass up. Just trim this off for a bit long. As I said, you can use kerosene, but kerosene doesn't give you a very long working time, and because this is encapsulated, you don't need to worry about the frame falling off at any point. Line the back edge up first, and the front edge. Now, at this point, I just give it a gentle tap with the hammer. As I said, if you have laminated glass or you are retaining the original glass, be careful. Toughened glass, we don't have to worry quite so much. So we'll give this a gentle tap. Lay this down. This is where I grab the clamp. Now, this is just going to make life a little bit easier. It'll pull it all together nicely, and we can pop our couple of screws back in and we're just about done. These original screws happen to be very good, but I usually end up with our jobs replacing them with stainless steel just because it'll last a lot longer. Same again at this end. It just helps bring it together to line these holes up through here. As you can see, we don't have to put any strain on this. You've got just a little bit of movement through there, which will help line the holes up. Okay. At this point, we're going to grab our razor blade again. This is now completely fixed off. It can't go anywhere. Make sure you use a sharp razor blade. I can't stress this enough. With a sharp razor blade, if you accidentally slip and run across the glass, chances are you won't scratch it. If you use a dull razor blade, you've got every chance of scratching the glass. All we're going to do is run this around the edge of the stainless frame, and again across the bottom edge, and remove the excess through here. And this is going to give you a nice factory finish. So for those of you competing in concourse, this will be exactly what Chevrolet did from the factory. So you now have a nice neat line all the way along, and you don't have any messy urethane or any of the other stuff that goes with it. We'll flip this over, trim this off. Now, some of the original Corvettes actually had a rubber with a flap. I actually prefer the setting tape. The problem with a lot of the aftermarket rubbers is that they use for the bottom. When they've cast them, that flap, instead of pointing down and pushing the water away, it has actually been cast incorrectly and the rubber points up on a slight angle. So what happens is, when the rubber's sitting up, the water simply pulls up. So we prefer to use the setting tape. Once it's installed, you can't see it, but it does make for a nice, neat finish, and it will give you an absolutely perfect seal between the glass and the frame and the runner. So again, remove all this excess. And that job is now complete. So we've gone from this old delaminated piece to brand new glass, and it looks $1,000,000. Now, we're located here on the Gold Coast in Queensland. We do have templates for almost every classic car that you can just about imagine. So if you need any glass, if you need advice, if you need setting tape, hit us up. Our landline number here is 1300 442 000, or you can send us an email to inquiries@glassforclassics.com.au. All the best, guys.